The giant buffalo, predecessor of the current subspecies of African buffaloes on the sub-Saharan continent, roamed the expanses of Africa in ancient times and were hunted by the then hunter-gatherers that occupied the land. They depicted these animals in their rock art, reflecting mythology and what is assumed to be religious and social practices. Giant buffaloes and the current subspecies were the objects of reverence and myth of many of the tribes of Africa. These reflect different perspectives, and buffaloes have been depicted as representing both good and bad. The Zulus regarded them as an incarnation of the spirits of the dead, and in West Africa they are considered to be heroic and majestic beasts associated with cleverness and strength. Here they are depicted in jewelry, masks, and thrones, reflecting symbols of high rank or authority. Historically, African buffaloes inhabited most of sub-Saharan Africa, where their occurrence was determined by the availability of abundant water, grass, and shade. Together with elephants and blue wildebeest, they formed the bulk of the large herbivore biomass in Africa. Currently, however, they are mostly confined to protected areas in their former ranges, and their numbers have been reduced from an estimated 3 million during the 19th century to fewer than the estimate of 400,000 at the end of the 20th century. The reduction in their numbers is primarily due to the rinderpest pandemic that affected much of sub-Saharan Africa in the late 1800s, and also because of the reduction in and fragmentation of their habitat and periodic droughts. Buffaloes form herds varying in size from about 20 to 1,000 or more individuals. Herd size varies according to the nature of the local ecosystem. These herds remain in home ranges that do not overlap. At times, when water is abundant, larger herds split up into smaller units that may be identified as separate herds. There is also substantial movement between herds, both by bulls and cows, who may cover distances of more than 100 kilometers. Bulls form smaller bachelor herds. They move at random between these and the breeding herds when still reproductively sound. Bulls first breed when they are 7 to 8 years old. Cows become sexually mature at the age of 3.5 years, and their first calves are usually born when they are between 4 and 5 years old. The gestation period is 11 months, and a single calf is born. Buffaloes have a lifespan of approximately 20 years, and may live as long as 29 years in captivity. Buffaloes are bulk grazers, and they have a significant ecological impact on the veldt. They are responsible for converting tall stands of grass by grazing and trampling into short grassy environments suitable for grazers with more selective feeding requirements. They have two main predators, lions and man. In recent times, buffaloes have acquired a substantial monetary value because of their appeal to humans. In addition to their symbolic and cultural values, they are seen as one of the ultimate prizes by trophy hunters and are a tremendous drawcard from an ecotourism perspective. The African buffalo has the reputation of being one of the most dangerous animals to hunt. While usually placid when undisturbed, these powerful animals can be very unpredictable. a charging buffalo has one of the most dangerous and swiftest attacks. They can charge at a speed of 55 kilometers per hour, and when wounded, may circle and stalk their hunter. Their eyesight and hearing are quite poor, but their sense of smell is excellent. So-called disease-free buffaloes have an added value in the South African market because of their reduced risk of transmitting serious diseases, such as foot and mouth disease and corridor disease, to livestock. Wildlife, one of Africa's biggest and unique assets, forms the basis of a rapidly growing and diverse ecotourism industry, in which the African buffalo plays a pivotal role in sustaining this attraction. But the presence of buffaloes also poses serious risks to conservation, the livestock industry, and the livelihoods of humans. Buffaloes are the main hosts and/or reservoirs of a number of high-impact diseases of economic importance, such as foot and mouth disease, bovine tuberculosis, buffalo-associated theileriosis or corridor disease, brucellosis or contagious abortion, and trypanosomosis. These diseases are difficult and complex to control, have serious economic effects when outbreaks occur, and their control imposes restrictive measures affecting the profitability of commercial farming and the sustainability of subsistence farming. The disease status of buffaloes varies in the different regions in South Africa and elsewhere. Buffaloes in the Kruger National Park, for example, are carriers of the agents of foot and mouth disease, bovine tuberculosis, buffalo-associated theileriosis, and bovine brucellosis, while those in KwaZulu-Natal are carriers of the agents of buffalo-associated theileriosis, bovine tuberculosis, and bovine trypanosomosis. The buffalo population in the Addo Elephant National Park in South Africa, and those derived from them, is considered to be free from infection with all the above pathogens and is referred to as being disease-free. Livestock are important for sustainable commercial agriculture in much of sub-Saharan Africa, particularly for food security. The movement of African buffaloes in South Africa is strictly controlled, mainly because of the economic impact that the diseases that they carry have when livestock, particularly those of commercial farmers, are infected. These diseases also have a pronounced effect on the sustainability of communal farming enterprises, and their presence can limit land use options. Contagious diseases, such as foot and mouth disease, can have a devastating effect on a country's economy because of embargoes placed on national and international trade with livestock and products of animal origin. Strict control measures are applied on the western and southern borders of the Kruger National Park because buffaloes are infected with the virus. These measures include a buffer zone where cattle are vaccinated annually against foot and mouth disease, and a surveillance zone where there is regular inspection of livestock for the presence of foot and mouth disease, and other movement control measures. Because of the major attraction of buffaloes for ecotourists, and the need for movement of healthy buffaloes free of these agents to commercial wildlife ranches and conservation areas, breeding of disease-free buffaloes has become a lucrative enterprise in South Africa. With the assistance of various national parks, projects are undertaken to breed disease-free African buffaloes as part of the disease management program of South Africa. The sale value of an infected buffalo is about $1,000, whereas a disease-free buffalo can be sold, depending on the market value at the time, for about $20,000 or more. The current initiatives in sub-Saharan Africa in establishing trans-frontier conservation areas pose new problems and challenges. There are at least 13 such initiatives in the region. For example, the Greater Limpopo Trans-Frontier Conservation Area, which incorporates adjacent national parks and conservation areas in Mozambique, South Africa, and Zimbabwe, will eventually constitute one of the largest conservation areas in the world. In conservation areas such as this, the interface between domestic animals, wildlife, and people becomes more important, especially from an animal and human disease perspective. There is a great danger that the development of these conservation areas will enhance the unchecked spread of the diseases within the area and into the adjacent commercial and communal farming systems. Once fences are removed and infected wildlife populations become established, bovine tuberculosis may spread northwards and eastwards from the infected Kruger National Park. Tsetse flies may recolonize the Kruger National Park from the north, and rabies may enter this park from the west, north, and the northeast. The other diseases are also expected to manifest different patterns of spread. The interface between wildlife, domestic animals, and humans on the western border of the Kruger National Park is linear and sometimes considered to be impenetrable because an electric fence separates wildlife from humans and their animals. Damage to this fence caused by elephants or floods or loss of power can render it ineffective, however, and result in close contact between wild animals, particularly buffaloes, and neighboring cattle and humans. South Africa is declared free of foot and mouth disease by the OIE, the International Animal Health Body, only because of the strict control measures that are in place to contain its spread from endemic areas such as in the Kruger National Park. In southern Africa, ecotourism is becoming a dominant economic driver, and the value and the number of buffaloes are on the increase. The future requires a juggling act from the country's animal health authorities by applying strict control measures so that South Africa will not lose its FMD-free status awarded by the OIE. At the same time, concerted efforts should be made to conserve our unique buffalo population.